Folks, you know I like to keep my eye on the political scene, and lately, well, the main attraction has been doing his best impression of a magician who's lost his rabbit. But fear not, patriots, the Donald is back. He recently graced the good people of St. Cloud, Minnesota with his presence. Now, usually a Trump rally brings to mind images of sprawling fields, MAGA hats as far as the eye can see, and enough chants of USA, USA to make a bald eagle blush. But this time, things were a little different. This wasn't your typical outdoor extravaganza. No, sir. Perhaps taking a cue from recent events, and by that I mean event, our former commander-in-chief opted for a cozier, more intimate setting. Think more high school gymnasium and less Woodstock for the red, white, and conspiracy theory. Word on the street is, the folks in St. Cloud were treated to all the classics. The hand gestures, the tangents, the voice that sounds like a bullfrog gargling gravel. But there was one thing noticeably absent. Now, I'm no political scientist, though I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but even I could tell something was off. The energy, the fervor, the unbridled enthusiasm that usually defines a Trump rally, gone. Replaced by a silence so profound you could practically hear a pin drop. Or maybe that was just Mike Pence trying to sneak out the back. Maybe it was the indoor setting, like they'd traded in their rally cries for library voices. Or maybe, just maybe, the American people are starting to realize that the emperor, well, he's fresh out of new clothes. Of course, no Trump speech would be complete without a healthy dose of his greatest hits. And by greatest hits, I mean baseless accusations and tired old insults. This time, it was Vice President Kamala Harris who had the honor of being the target of his, shall we say, affection.
Ha, you know, Kamala Harris, she's got that laugh. You know the one, probably the most relatable thing about her.
He talked about her record as a prosecutor, which, to be fair, is a valid topic for discussion, just not in the way he was doing it. But the real head-scratcher? The crowd barely reacted. The "lock her up" chants were replaced with a smattering of coughs and the rustling of pamphlets. It's almost like they were tired of the same old song and dance. Section 4 shots fired, but not the kind you'd think. Trump on vaccines. Now, for those of you keeping score at home, you know that the former president has a complicated relationship with the truth. And nowhere is that more evident than when he talks about vaccines. Yes, folks, the man who once suggested injecting bleach as a COVID cure has decided he's now the champion of medical freedom. He railed against vaccine mandates, particularly in schools. He even went so far as to say that masks on children were child abuse. Now, I'm no doctor, though I did play one on TV once, but something tells me that comparing life-saving measures to child abuse might not be the best look. Section 5, Law and Order, for thee, not for me, Trump on crime. In another classic case of do as I say, not as I do, Trump also spent a good chunk of time talking about crime. He painted a bleak picture of America, overrun by criminals and villains. It was like an episode of Batman, except instead of Gotham City, it was, well, everywhere, according to him. He called for law and order, which is ironic considering his own, shall we say, legal troubles. It's like a bank robber giving a lecture on financial responsibility. Section 6, The Great Escape, a slow trickle towards the exit. But the most telling moment of the whole event, people actually started leaving. Not all at once, mind you. More like a slow trickle towards the exits. It was like watching a balloon slowly deflate, except instead of air, it was filled with enthusiasm. And maybe some regret. Now, I'm not saying that this one event signals the end of the Trump era, but it does make you wonder, has the magic worn off? Has the show finally run its course? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the next few years in American politics are going to be interesting. And you can bet your bottom dollar, I'll be here to tell you all about it. Stay tuned, folks.